Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of reviewing drinks, we're going to review video games. Because that's another thing that people do these days is review video games instead of drinks. But anyway, today we'll be talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, this is my second time recording this video because the first time I accidentally left the windows down and all you could hear was wind smacking my mic, so that's no good. But this time, you know, I've reflected on what I said, and hopefully I can condense this down to a 10-minute video instead of the original 20 minutes that it was. So without further ado, let's begin. So first on our block is the overall feel of the game. Before we go into anything specific, just a really quick summary of what I feel about the game going into it. I played the demo, and I was not really a fan of the combat in the beginning. I thought the demo held to the main story, the original. It felt like I was just playing a 2020 version of this 1996 game, this classic that I grew up with, and now I'm playing it when I'm, 20 years older. And that's what it was. And it felt good. The game felt good. The combat, not so much, but the game, the story, the feel, the nostalgia, it was there. So that's how I felt after I played the demo. I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm going to play this game now. I'm going to buy it for sure now. At first I was on the ropes, but after I played the demo, I was like, yeah, this is worth my $60. So I bought the game and I jumped into it. I got it done in about 26, 27 hours. I completed every side quest in the game and everything. And when I got done, I was like, this was good. This was worth the money I spent on this game. So let's review it. And so that's what I'm here to do today. So, without further ado, let's get started. First off, we have the graphics of the game. It is 2020, so we expect a certain standard, and it blew it out of the water. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake just looks so much better than like 80% of the games on the market today. It has a very realistic feel with your characters. Every character has an emotion that you can tell what the emotion is looking at them. And the detail to the scenery is just insane. We wouldn't have probably got this kind of quality if they didn't stretch this game into parts. And at first I was a little upset that we'd have to, pay $60 multiple times for this game, but honestly it's probably going to be worth it because graphically the game is just phenomenal. The environments are so detailed, the character, the weapons, everything looks great. And like the cutscenes are just so fluid that by the time a cutscene ends and it transitions back to your character, it's almost impossible to tell that you're out of the cutscene, which is really good. Now, yeah, there are some high CGI cutscenes that are obviously not, replicable to the gameplay, but there's few in there. Honestly, you just really feel like you're playing a movie game, which I think is something that is really good. With what our limitations are on the PS4. I think going into the PS5, it's going to be even better, and I can't wait. And like I said, a solid 10 on the graphics. I mean, when you fall through to the church into Aerith's flower bed, the flowers just look so real. And then when you go to Aerith's house and she's got all these flowers that you can look around, it just looks so good. And everything moves when you move. It just feels like you're part of this real world. And I think that is just what the standard should be now. I think going forward, any kind of company that makes a video game, they should look at Final Fantasy VII Remake as the standard of what graphics should be in a video game. That being said, there were a couple graphical errors here and there where a character would kind of fall off the edge or enemy would fall through, but that's not really graphic more so as it is a programming issue. And so you really have to look past that kind of stuff because 99% of the time you're just getting this gorgeous game that you're getting to just play and live through yourself. And like I said, a solid 10 when it comes to graphics. That being said, the sound, much like this video, was a little off. Yes, the music was fantastic. Battle, open world music, really, really good. The ability to collect music from different versions of the game and even things that we haven't even seen yet was really good. There's a side quest where you go and you have to collect these CDs for this little girl so she can try to cheer people up with the music, and really you feel that way when you play the game. It's just really, really nice to hear these different tunes throughout the game, and just, even though it's a collectible, it's a fun collectible. It's just not just like a trophy or something. It's physical music you can go and listen to, and I think that's really important because the music is a big part of what people loved about the game, and that transitions into here. When I say that sometimes the sound's a little wacky, is that sometimes in cutscenes, and this happened a lot in Wall Market, but sometimes in cutscenes, you would just randomly hear people talk over you, and like you'd be at like a 3 and they'd be at like a 9, and so like you're trying to hear what your character's saying, but it's just yeah, go get him, woo, yeah, I wonder what he had for breakfast, while Cloud's trying to talk to somebody else, and that just really kills some aspects of the game. This happens a lot when you're in Wall Market in the arena. It's just so drowned out by just random NPC talk. And I don't know if that's a bug or it's supposed to be like immersion, but it just really killed the sound for me. But I still think that the positives completely outweigh the negatives when it comes to the sound in the game. And I think that if you enjoyed the sound in the original, you're going to love the sound in this game. It has a lot of simple callbacks that you'll see through the game. And just overall, it was very, very enjoyable. Every time I booted the game up and I heard the music, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be really good. The battle music, fantastic. When you're on the bike, amazing. And like when it did it good, it did it great. And I think that the bugs with the NPCs talking over you, they hurt the game sound, in terms of story immersion, but the game itself was fantastic. Like just being able to hear that music back from 96 is amazing. And so like overall music, it's a solid 8.5, 9. Like I just can't feel like you can deduct the game any less than that because of just how great the soundtrack is. But with the visuals and the audio out, you have the cores of like the movie-esque of the game, right? Your story is really, really good, and like your visuals and your audio is really good, but the combat, right? It is a video game. I'm not just watching a movie. I'm also playing this game. And like I said before, the combat is just so hit or miss. You either really like it because you like ARPGs, or if you're playing on easy mode, you get that turn-based. But I played on normal mode, so I could just, ARPG and play the game the way it was built, that it was supposed to be played. And I'm telling you, when you get your second weapon, which I believe is either the iron or steel broadsword, I believe what it's called, it just makes combat so trivial because the game devolves into... Cloud has 2 modes. He's got a operator mode and a punisher mode. The operator mode is like fast strikes, where triangle switches you to punisher mode, and like you hit slower, but you hit way harder and your gauge builds faster. And so like the game devolved into hitting triangle, hitting square 3 times for a combo, and then just triple slashing. Triple slash is the ability you get off your second weapon, and you could literally just insta-kill almost anything once you had triple slash. Like it made the game super duper face roll. There's a weapon down the line, I believe it's the second to last weapon you get another like really crazy ability that makes the game super, super easy once you stagger someone. But I feel like even though it is a video game, the combat kind of takes a back burner just to the story. And I feel that's the way with any Final Fantasy game. Like when you're playing the original 7, or you're playing 8, 9, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12, 13, 15, or even the MMO, you don't care about the combat. Like that's not why you play a Final Fantasy game. You play the Final Fantasy game for the story. So even though the combat is a little lacking because it's not turn-based, it doesn't matter. Like, it's fun enough to where you're enjoying what you're doing, but you're just there killing monsters to get to that next step in the story where you can see those amazing graphics and that great soundtrack and the story that it's building. So even though the combat's lacking for me personally because it's not turn-based, it just doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It lets you enjoy the story and also have fun smash and square, or even you can use magic in the game if that's what you want to do. That's the great thing about the remake, is that I feel like magic works so different in this game than it did in 7. You still slot the materia, but magic feels so much stronger in this game that if you just want to make Cloud, Aerith, Barret, Tifa a mage, you can do it, because the equipment allows you to customize your character the way you want to. I mean, I had luck materia on Cloud the entire game, and I was just critting people with triple slash. That's how I decided to play. But if I ever do decide to play the game again, maybe I'll just do a full magic run. And the game allows you to do that with the material that you can slot into your weapons and into your accessories. But overall, I feel like the combat's a solid 8, 8.5, 9. Really, I don't want to give it anything lower than that. Honestly, probably lower than 9, because even though it's ARPG and I don't like it, I think it did ARPG well. It definitely did it better than 15 did. I think being able to swap between the characters and play whoever you want to when you want to is great. Like, I'm hoping in the second part we get Vincent, and I probably will never swap off that character, because Barret's combat, I didn't like him at first, but it evolved into something I actually enjoyed later down the line, and Vincent's my favorite character, and I really, really hope that he's playable in the next game, because that's going to be the only person I play as. But finally, let's go to the story, right? So this is going to be as spoiler-free as I can get it, because there are people out there who haven't played the game. So if you're interested in like the theory about the end of the game or the game itself, you know, there's plenty of other videos out here. This is just a quick overview of the game and my personal thoughts of it. And so the story basically follows the original. There's some deviations that a lot of people are upset about or other people are confused about. I myself, I don't know if I missed a cutscene or if I just wasn't paying that much attention to it. I didn't grasp the overarching situation with this new entity, and after I watched a couple videos, it blew my mind how great the story was and what I am expecting going forward. I think that with what I know now about the game, that it's going to be insane going forward in the next parts. Playing this game, I was super satisfied and I was ready for the next part. So you have everything about the game that was in the original up to when they leave Midgar, with there's this new entity in the game that is interfering with the affairs all the way through the game, all the way to the end of the game. And you eventually find out what this entity is, what it came from, what its purpose is, and it is incredible how well they merge the entity with the game. Like, there's so many things in the beginning that you don't understand that you completely understand at the end of the game, that just makes it crazy they thought it out. And I really hope that going forward they evolve on this, and it makes the game fluid and makes the story amazing. Like, my only problem with the original game was that if you didn't play Crisis Core, a big chunk of the game didn't really make sense. Like, it gave you the information, but not enough to really fill the puzzle out, and I hope they correct that mistake. So, you know, overall, I thought this game was fantastic for what it was, and I feel like Remake is a reimagining of the game. It's not a carbon copy. I think people are upset because it's not the same game they played, 20 years ago. And I feel like that's a problem, because I feel like if you want a remake, if you want to replay the game you play but it looked better, then just replay the original. This is for the people who want to experience something new, something fresh, but still a throwback to the original. I get a lot of stuff for this, but I loved the Netflix Death Note movie. I thought it was really good for what it was. And people just wanted a live-action carbon copy of Death Note. And if you want that, just go watch the original. That's the problem I have with things, is that they did a good job of taking the characters and making their own version of the story. And that's what they did here. They took the idea of all the characters in the story and they made it a new, updated version of it, but then put some new stuff in it. And I think that's fine. I think that that's what makes a good story good. And the problem is that people just want a copy with new graphics. No, like that's not what you want. You think you want that, but at the end of the day, all this new stuff is better. It's fresh. It's gonna sell more copies, and at the end of the day, that's what they want. They want to be able to make money off of new players. Yeah, the old school people who are gonna play it want to play what they played before, but you can go back and play 7, updated version, anytime you want. You can play this brand new ARPG version of the game that has the same story with a little bit of added to it, but you still enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And if you want that turn-based, they gave it to you. And I think that Square Enix did a really good job with this game, because I feel like outside of like a good 5% of the player base, 95% of people probably love this game, and I know I'm one of those people. But anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. I hope you enjoyed my overall stretching review of Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's a solid 9.5 out of 10. It is a very good game. Definitely one of the best PlayStation exclusives we've had in the last 5 years. I think it and God of War have just really upped the standard of games going forward for the new generation of consoles. And I believe that going into the PS5 and the Xbox, I don't remember what it's called, the new Xbox, I believe that we're going to see even better innovation of graphics, sound, and just gameplay. And I'm really excited for the second part of this game. But anyway, I'm Bowen, and this is a review of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you want more content. I do drink reviews on Sundays and game reviews on Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we'll be reviewing Dragon Quest XI. Not the definitive edition, the original. I'm really excited to review that game because I recently 100%ed the game and about 80 hours into it, so it's going to be a pretty good review. But I hope you enjoyed this one, and I highly recommend that you buy the game. So anyway, goodbye. I'll see you next time.